Financials. We have CME. Looks, ooh, I like it. As like if we can stay above this 193, we got a little pop right here. Um, so just be careful. We've got some resistance right here at the 197.39. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of come back down. But as long as we hold this 93, right? You see how we broke below it here? As long as we hold it, then I like the probability that this is going to go higher. We got stopped out kind of exactly where it would be expected that we got stopped out, right around here, the 927 or the 200. So I would be a buyer, a cautious buyer of CAB Group at this level with a get out of town at 193. NTRS, now all the banks are kind of got destroyed last week with the market. I should have kept last week. I should have kept my 2 week notice, right? Because if you remember 2 weeks ago, I was saying the market could be volatile for 2 weeks. And then last Friday, I was all excited, like, oh, well, the market's done with its thing. And then this week, we got another volatile week. I should have kept it at 10 days, but I didn't. And this is kind of what I mean. And we rolled back over. But if you see, it was a nice little retest. The 107. Now, I'm still a firm believer that we will be heading up higher. Um, the 104, I don't see us really going all the way down to 104. As long as we can stay above this 107, I'm a buyer. If we can get into this 109 area, really above this 110.55, I would like to see it do that. Now, again, this was a nasty move. You're going to see basically all the banks with more or less the same exact looking trend. The high in the end of August, September was a nasty month for financials. So we'll see how October does. See if we can retest these highs or if we start making new lows. Blackstone, about the same, looking absolutely horrendous. Again, this was 917. So NTRS, Northern Trust, was in August. This was just more or less recently, but if you look how many, I think we talked about this, look at all the massive amount of people that sold, right? So we're talking there was a larger one over here, which was 37 million, but this was 14 million and a lot of extra shifting hands. Now, I'm kind of, call me a conspiracy theory, whatever you want to call it. Now there was 37 million people bought at 99. A 33% gain is massive, right? When you're talking about that amount of money. So it makes sense that they sold half their position, right? Because about half their position reaped in their gains and slowly but surely either been selling the other half or once it, because it, I mean, it dropped heavy, right? 136 to 120. So even if they bought right back there, they made a million, they made a mint, right? But if you allowed the market kind of turn back over and then slowly but surely they're starting to buy back the shares they sold right here, then that wouldn't be makes sense why we're finding our foothold of support. So I would like to buy. Let's just give it a little bit more time. If we can really get above this 160 or 116.93, then I'd be more of a buyer, kind of getting above this little cluster right here. Goldman Sachs, not quite the same with the volume, but it is the same with the general um, looking pattern. They're all pretty much the same. Some are better than others, some are worse than others. Again, Goldman Sachs got to be above this 380.69. I know we're close, but close is only, what is it? Close is good in hand grenades and horseshoes. Now we could roll here and roll back over. That's why I'm saying, as excuse me, above this teal line, I'm an aggressive buyer. Above this 50%, then I'm a confident buyer. TROW price. We just went basically down to our 729. What was this? A special dividend? No, this was earnings. This was the $3 dividend. Yeah, that was a beautiful dividend. All right, and then they dropped it to $1. That's that's not very good. That must have been. Oh yeah, yeah. No, this was a special dividend. See, the $1.08, the $1.08. All right, sorry, that was my own. Sorry about that. All right, so where we see again, kind of depends on the world. If the markets are cratering, then I see this cratering maybe all the way down to our 191 area. Um, I hope it doesn't. I would like for it to get above this 198 and hold this 50% of this general move from here to here. But if we don't, then I watch us coming down to this 191. Let's do weeks so we can kind of see what I'm talking about. So the 100%, which is way down here, the 191, is the extension from the corona or from the pandemic low to the temporary high before the big crash. Now it's off a little bit. It should be down to 121. It's $3 off. However, it is showing us a nice telltale sign. So 191 would be our biggest support. So just keep that in mind. Yeah. BlackRock's biggest disappointment. Huge disappointment. Massive disappointment. However, you see that we are still above this 50%, right? So we're still technically in a bullish territory. It's just, it's this is dropped big. And this is the weeks too. So we went from 959 to 823 in literally 2 weeks. Well, in a month. Sorry. It was a month. Again, we are above this 50%. We're holding the 618. So whew, as long as I want to say this is terrible and it's ugly, it's still bullish, right? We're holding our key numbers, right? We retested basically, what is this? The May low, right? Where we double bottom right here and we took off. So the May low, what is this? May 19th low is where we basically double bottom. So yeah, again, I gotta see what kind of happens with the market this week. If we can maintain the 618 right here, then I would be a buyer. I've been burnt a few times with BlackRock this last couple of weeks. However, but especially right here, this was murder for me. As long as we stay above this 828, right here, the 618, then you gotta be a buyer. Now, again, be easy with this because when we'll see with FAS, what goes down really fast, this could also go up really fast. Or having some massive days like this, and then what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight days of up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another basically 5 days of up. Let's not forget that was quite some long. We were not as far away as we are right now, but we were not look, this was July 19th. We were at basically the same area we are right now, and then we went on a massive bull run. So just keep that in mind. If we can get the Christmas rally, September's gone. Let's pay attention to what's going on next. These could be great opportunities for the future, which like the next month or so. Chuck to Charlie, or talk to Chuck. Yeah, out of most all of them, Charles Schwab looks pretty sexy. It's doing its thing. While the rest of the world was cratering and saying goodbye and kissing the world goodbye and falling out of bed, Chuck made a year high. So, I mean, actually quite some time high, over a year. Let's see, weeks. Yeah, Charles Schwab has made a 3-year high while the rest of the world was falling out of bed. So just keep that in mind. On strength wise, relative strength, I would say Chuck's pretty strong. Bank of America, same thing. Especially while the rest of the banks are cratering, Bank of America and Chuck are right around their highs, at least 3-year highs. So keep that in mind. Keep an eye on those two. KKR, uh, not the greatest. Again, we are below this trend line. You see how we basically bounced and we ended below it. Until we get above that trend line, it's bearish. So as I might like KKR for the long term, but in the short to intermediate time, as long as we're below this trend line right here, we are bearish. Now, don't get it wrong. We see how this trend line is going higher. Now, don't get it wrong. That does not necessarily mean that the price of KKR will be going down. It could be riding this trend line higher, but on the negative side of it. Does that make sense? So I want it on the other side, the upper side, not the lower side. FAS. Now, we have had some fun with FAS. We basically were at 103, jump up to 127, right? So it's 24 points in a week. And then come all the way down to 115 up to 120. So, yeah, FAS is a doozy. We've been talking about it's a doozy for quite some time, so this is nothing, there's no new news. Just be very careful. The market's pretty volatile right now, so we could be going through basically $5 to $6 dollars or points every day for the next few days, as long as the market is really hectic. Once it slows back down, as long as we are above this 50% right here, right? This one, the 115, then I would be a buyer and target would be 134.